Hello everybody, and welcome to Out of Office Racing. I'm going to come clean with you. This is not the first time I filmed this. It's not even the second time I filmed this. In fact, I filmed 3 episodes of this series before I realized how absolutely rubbish the recordings were. I respect you and your time way too much to force you to sit through that. So we're going to start over. We've got a fresh account. We're going to refilm all of it. There's been a really steep learning curve for me with all of this content creation. I've never recorded videos before. I've never created game content. I've certainly never edited videos. And while I want to document that journey as well as my racing journey, I kind of just wanted to bring you something a little bit more polished for these first few episodes. You'll still see the struggle. You'll still see me getting better, hopefully, as we go through the series. But I just respect your time a bit too much to put out content there that I wouldn't even watch myself. The sound balancing was terrible. We've got ourselves a mic, which should help a lot once I figure out how to use it. But yeah, we're going to start on putting a better foot forward with this. So just to recap lightly on what we're doing, I'm not very good at Gran Turismo 7. And I'm going to be straight with you and say that watching me probably isn't going to make you better at this game. Now, obviously, I'm hoping to improve, and I'm hoping that down the line we'll be in the realm of tips and tricks and things like that. But for the moment, what I'm really trying to document is a busy professional with a very budget kit trying to get into this game in 2026. Now, I've played Gran Turismo games in the past, but I've never really played them properly. I've never finished a career mode. I've certainly never gotten into multiplayer because I just used the most powerful cars I could. And then later on, when PP limits came in and you restricted on races, I kind of just gave up because I was never improving. And looking back, I can see why I wasn't improving. So what we're going to do is we're going to start with an absolutely fresh career. We've got a new account set up, which I will take us across to in just a moment. We're going to work through the career. We're going to work through the licenses. We're going to do all of the stuff that I avoided doing before. Now, it's going to be tough. We haven't been developing very good habits with our racing. So what I've done is I've put together a little list of rules for this career series to hopefully sort of support that progress. So I'll pop those up on screen now and just give you a quick talk through them. So rule number 1 is going to be about fiscal responsibility. We're going to prioritize cars that we've won in races and licenses. There are so many available through this game that we should be able to get through a lot of the early career without buying a car. Now, I know there will be times when we will need to buy something, the American Truck Series. I'm not sure if those are winnable. But as much as possible, we're going to try and work with what we've got. And we should be able to get quite far with that. Rule number 2, operations restricted to authorized hardware. Well, I'm not saying I'm never going to upgrade this gear. I'd be silly to say that because I hope to eventually when we sort of get better at the game and we want to sort of push that progress. But I do believe it is possible to become competitive using the more budget gear. I've got a Logitech G923, great piece of kit. I picked it up in a Christmas sale. Rule number 3 is PP compliance. Now, we're not going to blast into the Sunday Cup with an 800 horsepower Aston Martin or anything along those lines. What we're going to do is we're going to give ourselves a little 5% grace though. And the reason I do this is because in these early races, you've got 1, 2, 3 laps to potentially sometimes make up a 30-second lead that the leaders have got. You're coming from the back of the grid, and I don't feel as though trying to race strictly in those races is going to develop good habits because we're going to be cutting corners, we're going to be ramming cars. I just feel like that little 5% grace period might allow us to race a bit more clean and develop good habits rather than bad. The other thing we'll do with this is if there are any cars in the race already that the AI driving, those automatically qualify as long as they're in their stock form. Rule number 4 on revenue integrity. We're not going to be grinding Le Mans and Sardinia. Everyone has seen so much of that content. It is a great way to make money and the races are fun, but I don't think it's necessary. There's millions to be made in the circuit experiences. There's plenty through the career. There's a huge event directory that we can work on to get those credits together. And since we're not going to be buying that many cars early on, I really don't think we're going to need it. That stuff's great for padding out your inventory later on when you're trying to hit collector level 50. But for now, we're going to stick to the career. Total audit transparency. Now, I want to document this full journey. I'm not going to be grinding off screen and practicing and, having 100 attempts at a race and showing you one. I will create highlight episodes because I'm sure a lot of you won't want to sit through hours and hours of gaming footage, but I will also post the full uncut recording sessions. you know, you'll see every failed race, every failed license attempt. You'll see the frustration. And I just feel like that's a more authentic way to put this content out there. Eventually, I'm hoping to get live streaming, but you know, that'll be a little way down the line. We'll figure out how to do this first. And finally, incident reporting. So I used to get really frustrated when the AI used to run me off the road. I'm sure you all have too. I'm sure you've experienced it. But I also have to look back and respect that a lot of that is probably my fault. I don't know much about racing etiquette. And when I do go into sport mode, I don't want to be the guy that's, you know, blocking when I think I'm defending successfully and things like that. I really want to hold myself to account and learn how to do this better. So please, if you do spot anything while I'm driving that you think I need to be doing better or working on, please do let me know in the comments. We'll be going back from crashes and looking at the review for like replay footage and things like that. So I'm very happy for you guys to let me know if there's anything you think I'm doing wrong. You know, we'll work on that together. We'll get better together. Anyway, that's the rules. That's what we're going to be playing to. That's the sort of level of accountability we're going to try and hold ourselves to. With that said, though, let's get straight into it. Right, and here we go. Let's just check all the sounds working. Right, here we go. Time to pick our first car. Now, I don't really think it matters too much what we pick here. You know, we'll use it through the first couple of race series, but yeah, I mean, we're going to win all of these cars in the first couple of menu books anyway. So I've always gone with the Aqua in the past, so we'll stick with that now. Thanks, Andy. It's always nice to get a fresh start in these games, isn't it? Thank you, Sarah. Right, just before we start racing and starting all that, we're just going to do a quick check over our settings. No, not back to the used car dealership. That's not where we need to be. Right, so first off, race difficulty. Now, I've experimented with playing with different settings here, and I don't think it makes a huge amount of difference in the first few races. We are going to be playing on hard, and this is not out of ego. I've already admitted I'm not very good at this game. So down the line, if it becomes very difficult to race clean and still win, we'll drop this difficulty down and then maybe look at increasing it later on. But I don't think there's a huge difference. Correct me if I'm wrong. So on controllers, we're just going to make sure we've got everything calibrated properly. So on the wheel, it's really important to calibrate these pedals. Now, if you're sitting here, you can quite easily push the brake down to 100%. But what you've got to be thinking is, are you going to be doing that mid-race? You really don't want to be trying to push your foot through a wall. So I recommend testing this out a few times just to see what's comfortable. You know, how far do you want to be pushing this when you're slamming on the brakes? For me, that's usually comfortable around 70%, so that's where we're going to start off, but we will evaluate that later on. Now, the other thing is the minimum input. So it's taken a bit of time for me to learn to use both my feet because, you know, in a normal car, you're moving your right foot between the brake and the accelerator. But in this, I have learned that it is very useful to be able to use both feet. So because I rest my feet on and around the brake, I really don't want accidental inputs. So what I tend to do is set the minimum threshold to about 5%, which just stops that from happening. So we don't get any sort of braking while we're accelerating and so on. It just sort of keeps the inputs separate. So just going to push this a few times, I think. Yep. So we're comfortable around the 70% mark. Right. Yep, that's good. So that's the pedals calibrated. Just check the vibration settings. Have I done those? I do apologize in advance. There will be some rumbling from the wheel, just the nature of the beast. I've put some foam padding underneath it to try and limit that as much as possible. But the microphone will pick up some of it, so Just fair warning there. Right, let's go to our garage. Thank you, Sarah. Now we're going to go and meet Luca. Now I will say Luca talks a lot, and I will be skipping through a lot of it, but you know what, there's some actually really interesting bites you get out of this now and again. The level of detail in this game is just incredible. Right, now we are going to do all 3 races in this series, even though we've already got the Aqua. I just feel like all of that practice is going to be really useful early on. Sorry about that, I just wanted to check on my music settings just to make sure that we're not going to get a copyright strike on our very first ever YouTube video. Right, so let's go. Right, so I think the first, yeah, that's where our Aqua came from, so we'll do that one first. Just going to try and limit the wheel rumble for you there, guys. Now, just let's very quickly also talk about assists. So, oh, we definitely don't want that in automatic. So, I don't have any ego when it comes to the assists that I need to use in the game, but it must be said that some of them... Oh, why can't I go custom? Some of them do actually hamper my progress personally. So I tend to run the corner indicators, but not the driving line. And the reason for this is that, you know, if you follow your sat nav every time you go to the supermarket, you're never going to remember the way there. And similarly, I don't feel like I'll ever memorize the lines if I'm just following the racing line. I find it distracting, and I find that it, you know, stops me from focusing on other things. So we tend to leave ABS on default. Can we change? Why can't we change traction control? We don't want auto drive. Corner indicator is fine. I also have the braking indicator up, typically just until I start memorizing my own braking points. But sometimes it can just rescue me the last second. The braking area I have never used. I used it once and it was absolutely terrible. Again, it's just a massive like visual distraction. And again, I find that I'm not really sort of figuring out things the way that I should. So that's off. Replace car after leaving track off. Stability management, counter steering off. I don't know why we don't seem to be able to change the traction control. Anyway, I tend to run traction control on 1. We'll get that switched down somehow. Maybe we can do it in race in a second. All right, let's go. There we go. I was really hoping we could avoid hitting a wall on our first race. Pay attention to the road, people. This is not a good start. Oh, been a bit too greedy there. Maybe we did need that traction control after all. There we go. I don't think we need to see the replay on that one. Where are we off to next? Redoing all of these races is kind of like my penance for playing the game I was before, the way I was before rather. I remember back in Gran Turismo 4 days, I used to just set up on this track with, what was it, the polyphony one, and just run it over and over again and buy every car in the game off the proceeds. Looking back, I don't know how I ever did that or why I did it. There's not really much fun in that, is there? Alright, come on, we have to be able to catch a Prius. We're going to be looking for that clean racing bonus as well, wherever we possibly can. I just feel like that's going to be a good indicator of our progress if we continually get that. Sorry, my camera's doing some weird things here. Just give me a second. There we go, that's better. I am still learning. Tell you what, in these last few attempts to film all of this, I've really gained so much respect for the creators that are out there. You know, it looks easy, it looks like you just sort of plug everything in and go, but it is a lot of work. Alright, last one for book one. It's quite a shock adjustment, sort of coming back from racing GT3s to back to these early stages road cars, but like I said, this is our penance. And it's kind of fun to start fresh. I really need to learn this whole trail braking thing people keep telling me about. I sort of get halfway into a corner and panic, jam down on the brakes again. But I have noticed a difference since I've been trying anyway. Nope, nope. I think I said that at the wrong time. I don't think we're getting our clean racing bonus here. Come on. I also need to remind myself that I don't have gears. These electric cars confuse me a little bit. There we go, that's menu book 1, done. What have we got next? I think we're going to go and start the B license. I will be doing separate episodes for all of the licenses. Obviously, this one we need to do in order to progress. But I'll just pop a little separate playlist on YouTube with the full episodes of me doing all the license tests. I've never done Beyond A, so that's going to be interesting to watch. I'll have to stick a little attempt counter up on screen or something with a little bit of a time lapse for you guys. Hopefully this one doesn't take us too many tries. But I know once we get gold on all of the B license, we get that Renault Clio, and that carried me through most of the early game in the last run through, so we'll prioritize getting that as soon as we can. It's so great that they've brought all the World Series drivers into this and given them their characters in the game. That's a lovely touch from them. Right, brake on the cones. First time gold. I promise they are not all going to be like that. I'd love it if they were. Not going to happen. Then again, since I filmed this 3 times, I guess I've had a bit of unfair practice. Let's go back to the cafe. I really love that 65 Mini, by the way. There are some great liveries out there for that one as well. I think we'll be using that a lot in the early game. But for now, I think we're going to stick with our Aqua. Well, let's just go from the top down, shall we? I love the UK tracks. It's just such a shame we don't have Silverstone. I think we need to get ourselves a car with some gears. Oh. Overcooked that a bit. So previously playing this game as well, I had this obsession with getting gold or first in every single race. Now, to progress through the career, we just need those podiums. So we're not going to be pushing and repeating races to try and get those golds. We can come back and do all of that later on a, completionist run. But for now, what we need is the podium, so we'll be happy with that. Although judging by the way I'm driving today, those might be hard enough to get as it is. Come on, Gallo, I'm coming for you. That's a bit better. I don't think we're going to do this. Come on, go! And that is going to be good enough. Right, what's next? Goodwood. Yeah, we get my mini in this one. That was nearly an accident. How are they so far ahead already? Oh, no. Well. So much for racing clean. Oh, come on. Looks like I did need to go back to school after all. Come on. I love the dynamic weather and time in this. It's just an incredible detail. Don't know if we're going to make it up to first here. He is flying. Well, as much as these cars can fly. Yep, second is fine. We're okay with that. That's 2 in a row we've missed out on those clean race bonuses. We're going to have to tidy this stuff up. Alright, one more. What have we got next? Is it Maggiore? There we go. As we get through the career mode, as these tracks start opening up, we're not going to do it right in the very beginning, but as we start getting to the fuller versions of the tracks later on, what we'll try and do is a bit of a trial session at the beginning of each episode to try and get one of the circuit experiences done. We don't want to have to come back and do, 40 odd of them later on down the line. And that's another thing I neglected in my previous playthrough. I feel like maybe I could have improved a bit had I actually focused on those. Oh, this is terrible. Nice try, Gallo. Oh, that one's fast. I'd love to be able to promise you that, watching me isn't always going to be this painful, but I won't make that promise just yet. Alright, that is menu book 3 done. Finally, we get our bonus. I'm not fully sure we deserved that one there though. Right. Let's go back to the cafe then. Yep, thanks, Luca. Right, our first little mini championship. Let's go. I think we might have to do some work on the car for this one. Let's go take a look what we're aiming for with the PP here. I think we can probably do it just upgrading the tires, but I'll just double check and see. 400, what are we at now? 354. Yeah, I think just the sport hard tires should do this for us. Thank you, Rupert. That should be fine. I mean, I know we're giving ourselves that 5% grace, but I think in these early menu books, I just think it's not really worth the time to spend ages upgrading cars. We just need a second or third place. That's all we need. We can do that. Excuse me. I'm looking forward to getting in a car that's actually got some engine noise. One thing I did notice is on like Deep Forest. I don't know if it was in Gran Turismo Sport. I never ended up playing it. But the sound when you're going through those tunnels is incredible. They've done a great job with that. And look at that. Kind of showing my age here, but that 83 Golf, that was my first ever car. It was a disgusting lime green color. I thought I was very cool, so I called it my Lamborghini. Yeah, I know. Nope. Bit greedy with that gap there, I think. We're not going to push too hard for first in this one because for some reason, if you overtake Fraga, he gets a massive speed boost. It's like he's just pulled 50 more horsepower out of thin air. So we'll just focus on trying to drive it clean and holding on to second. pretty sure that Civic is also not under 400 pp. But that's okay. We can beat him anyway. Oh no. I wasn't paying attention there. Right, now watch this. Just as we're over the bridge, he is going to absolutely fly past us. Oh. Sort of make it easy for him when I drive like that. Oh no, maybe we will hold on to it. Oh, here he comes. Turns into an absolute rocket all of a sudden. So let me know down below. I don't know, genuinely do not know the difference between defending and blocking. So if anyone wants to explain that to me, please do go ahead. Oh, it looks like we're going to hold first. Very nice. Like, I know it's something to do with the expected line that you're going to be driving on, but I've never really known what is acceptable and what is not in terms of trying to stop people overtaking you. I guess if they're faster, they're just going to go and you've got to let them go, but I'd love to know the difference. Right. The AI typically aren't very good in the wet, so we should be okay here. Then again, we're not very good in the wet, so maybe we won't. Who knows? Sorry, Lamborghini. Oh. I know we've had a couple of little off-roading bits, but I don't want to speak too soon. We haven't had a crash yet. Oh. Bit greedy there. He seems to be holding off this time. Oh, here he comes. See, where does that come from? Excuse you? Oh well. We're not going to complain too much about it. That is menu book 4. Done. We're flying through them. So I typically have absolutely terrible luck with those roulette tickets. I get the smallest possible prize every single time. So we'll see if the fresh account brings some fresh new luck. All right, again, doesn't really matter what we get here. I kind of like the Swift, if I'm honest. That's mine. All right. We're probably going to use that in the next series. Right, let's go check in with Luca and see what's next. Right, the Integra, I think, is from the high-speed ring race, so we will go and do that first, and then try and knock out the other two. Won't be needing Brand Central for a bit, sadly. All right, suggested PP 450. So the Integra is well within our little 5% grace rule, and it's in the race anyway, so we're good with that. I don't think we need to make any mods to this one. It should be fine in stock. And we finally have a gearbox. Nowhere to hide now. Oh, this car's quick. I'm sure Frog is going to start cheating again. Sorry, Gearbox. I didn't mean it, I promise. A lot of the crashes I've historically gotten into with the AI, I think, if I'm honest, come down to my own sort of perception. Once I've passed the car, I very rarely look back, and I think I need to start learning how to do that a bit better. It can be really frustrating when you're sort of 9 laps into a 10-lap race, and you cut across an AI that pushes you off track. But I think that most of that kind of thing is avoidable. I just need to develop a bit more track awareness. I'm sure there's a proper name for it, but somebody can tell me. Oh, this car's flying. Are we cheating? Is this cheating? So I'd be lying if I said I hadn't tried out sport mode. It didn't go very well. So when we get back there in a few weeks, hopefully we can approach it with a bit more of a plan. What I definitely don't want is to be the guy that ruins that experience for everyone else. And I know once we get our sportsmanship rating up, you know, the lobbies will be a bit different, but I'm sure it can be hella frustrating for other drivers. Not that people shouldn't go try it out, you know, that's what it's there for. It's a game, it's meant to be played. But I do think everyone should, you know, the etiquette codes and things like that, they give you some pretty good videos on it. I just maybe wish everyone paid a bit more attention than perhaps I have in the past, but we will be better. Right, that was easy. What have we got next? Tsukuba. Absolute nemesis, this track for me, in both the circuit experience and the licenses. So yep, we'll be getting back to that soon. You can watch my pain. Now, I know this game's been out for a really long time, so, you know, all of this, everything that I'm showing you guys has been covered many, many times. My hope is that by the time the next game launches, that I've gotten decent both at playing the game itself and at creating this content. But I was watching another streamer a few weeks ago, and he just gave some such sound advice, saying, you know, stop thinking about it and just start doing it. Just get out there, put some content. Everyone's first videos are going to be terrible. And, you know, that's probably not true. I'm sure there are a lot of people that put some great content out from day one. But we've all got to start somewhere. So at least this way, by the time that game does drop, you know, I can give you guys something a little bit more polished. Right, Alex, drive more, talk less. Oh, this is disgusting driving. I think he agrees. I think one of the biggest learning curves, and it's something that I'm still working on, is not seeing another car and just thinking overtake, overtake. I think the best way to approach it is just to drive the absolute best lap you can, and the rest of the cars are just traffic. You know, the results will start getting better, but just slamming the foot down every time you see a car in front and try to overtake. It doesn't help at all. All right, we are nearly done with menu book 5. Oh, come on, that's terrible. So on those corner indicators, now I know that they are not the sort of optimal apexes of every turn, but they do give me a great starting point. So later on when we're racing in the faster cars and we're trying to sort of squeeze every bit of pace out that we can, the way I see them is it's kind of like those old arcade games. And I sort of got better at picking up and finding my own apexes by treating it like a game. You're sort of trying to collect the markers as you go, like they're Mario coins or something. Oh. Sorry. Oh, I didn't mean it. I didn't mean it. Sorry, dude. I think that's another clean race bonus gone out the window there. Oh. No. And I think we got him. And there we go. Menu book 5 complete. Nice. Right, let's go do some paperwork quickly. Let's go collect those roulette tickets. And I am willing to bet that it is 3 out of 3 of those rubbish prizes. Let's see. Tiny pile of coins, guaranteed. Do you know, I almost got excited there. almost got excited. Right, that's 1 out of 3. Maybe this just happens to everyone this early in the game, I don't know. Okay, that's an improvement. That is an improvement. Okay, in fairness, only 2 out of 3. That's okay, we can live with that. We don't need much money at the minute. Right, I think we're going to leave that there for today's episode. I just wanted to use these first few menu books as a bit of an introduction to what I'm going to be doing with this series. Obviously, it will get a little bit more exciting as the cars get faster and I start crashing more. But yeah, thank you for watching. If you'd like to see more, please drop a like and subscribe. We'll see you in the next one. For now, I am out of office.